Oh man. Yeah, right.
That video is like 12 years old. I love to show it because it's just a funny video and it never gets old. It just really goes to show you our industry is just, it changes at a pace that we can't even comprehend some days. So,
did you get it all?
Especially with the products that Intel recently come out with. I mean, things are just unbelievable with the previous generation one. So, what I'm going to do here today is just quickly do an overview of the E5 architecture, get you a little up to speed on how it differentiates from its previous generation. And then I'm going to do what my new day job is, so be kind to me. I've only been in this job for 30 days. So I'm the business development manager for our server products group, so that's the guys who make the boards and chassis, RAID controller cards, and soon to be PHY. Anybody know, heard the announcement on PHY, what it is? There's somebody in the back. Can you just yell it out? Do you know what PHY is?
Yes, it's
Exactly. It's what we work internally calling MIC, multi-integrated cores, and it's basically kind of a competitive product for the GPU market. So we'll be coming out with that a little later in the year. So anyways, E5 architecture. We launched it on, I think it was March 4th or 5th, somewhere in that time frame. Completely different than its previous generation. So you'll notice that our legal disclaimers have got from 1 page to 2 pages. So we are obviously keeping our law industry going. Yeah, memorize that. Anything I can say will never be held against me. Anyway, so here, quick look. I'm going to blow through some of the stuff. But so the new Xeon brand, confusing to some. The part nomenclature is a little bit. There's actually some rhyme and reason to it. So E5 is dual processor replacing the 5000 series, the 5500, 5600 series that is still available today. We'll still be selling that product. Probably for roughly another 12 months time frame, somewhere in that time frame. The E5, so you know E5, the second after the E, after the dash 5, there's going to be a 1, 2, 4, and that will tell you how many sockets. What is this part? Is it for a 1 socket board? It would have a 1, 2 socket board, a 2, 4 socket board would be a 4. And then the series number, and then when we come up with other versions of that, so you'll probably have noticed that on the E3 version, that we've come up with a V2. That V2 is the die shrunk version, which internally was known as Ivory Bridge. Sandy Bridge was its predecessor. And that V2 tells you it is the the second version of that. And in this case, it would be a 22 nanometer version of the current product, which is 32 nanometer. So Xeon products, you'll see, small business, or entry level, E3. Mainstream, performance, E5, high-end data mining, E7 is really kind of the target market. Also, high-performance computing market is another place that you'll see a lot of E7 product. You'll see the glut of that, so the vast majority, roughly 90%, 87%, somewhere that is UP and DP products. That's what's sold for server processors. E5, E3 products. E7 is that smaller percentage. That is, more the back end, but those systems are great, right? Because they sell for an arm and a leg. And those processors are great for Intel because they are also cost-effective. So it's a great ASP for you, it's a great ASP for Intel, so it's a great product if you have customers that are in need. Okay. Here's kind of an analogy from one of the many marketing people we have at Intel. Basically saying, your delivery truck that does 90% of the work, that's where the E5 family fits in. Smaller machines that you got running around the warehouse. Those are good for E3s, and then that back-end system, you know, you need like the tractor trailer or the freight train to do the heavy lifting, I guess. So for the E5 family, different from its previous generation, so the 5500 series, 5600 series, those are all dual processors. The E5 family actually has multiple processor families. So we have an E5 single socket processor, and you'll see EPSD, our server group, has single socket server boards based on E5, which is a significantly more robust product than the E3 version. So for customers that only need a single processor but they need more I/O capabilities, that's a good fit for that product. Then we have the E5, we have two versions of it. The E5 2400 version, slightly de-featured. It has 3 channels of memory versus 4 on the 2600, and it also has 24 lanes of PCI Express, where it's the higher end version, it's 40 lanes of PCI Express. Now that PCI Express, and I'll show you in a moment, that I/O chips is integrated into the processor. So now your processor is directly connected to the PCIe slots that are on the board. Making the bandwidth in and out of there significantly better, lower latencies, getting information in and out of the system. And then on the high end, there's going to be a 4-way product. This does not replace an E7 because it's not a true 4-way, which has multiple chipsets, so all processors can talk to each other. This is more targeted for like an HPC environment for just high computational computing. And it's a great product. People who have evaluated it are just blown away by the product's capabilities. And that is a 4-socket, so there's 4-socket boards, and those are available actually today. Our system is coming out shortly, but there are some systems in the market. Give you an idea of the benchmarking. So here's a lot of stuff going on here. You'll see here, this is the old highest frequency part, 5690. That's your benchmark over there. Oh, that's the E3. And then you go to the dual socket 5690, which is right here, and and then you'll see that the performance, when you just have a single socket, high end, it's almost similar on the Sandy Bridge. Single socket Sandy Bridge is almost as good as a dual socket 5600 part. So it gives you an idea of the performance uplift you're going to get on these products. This was in here, so when you buy the product processors, you buy a box processor, it usually costs roughly $2 to $3 more. That will give you a 3-year warranty versus a 1-year warranty. Now, when you're picking your solutions from EPSD, here's the thermal solutions. This is helping us have a great inventory lineup. So we don't have to worry about, we stock the processors, and in the old days, we actually used to box the heat sinks with them. We found that we would box UP1 single height processor thermals, and everybody needed the 2U. And we never had the right mix, so we separated them, made it a little easier, so distributors can just stock, and you just have to order both SKUs. 2600. So here's kind of a little look at it from the outside. Up to 80% performance. I mean, really, this product's capabilities are amazing. We're winning almost every HPC benchmark out there, and everybody's climbing up that a list of the top 5 supercomputers in the world with products. Here's a look side by side at the previous generation. So you'll see the over here on the left, that's the old generation. You'll see there's something called an IOH, I/O Controller Hub. That product, that chip, is actually integrated into the processors now. As I mentioned, so now instead of being a 3-chip solution, which was the processors, the I/O Hub and the Self Bridge, or formerly known as the Self Bridge, now it's basically your processors and your Self Bridge, which is managing mostly legacy functionality. You'll see on the 2600, 4 channels of memory, which is up from the 3 channels of memory on the previous. Also, 1600 memory is supported on these. The next generation will support 2 GHz DDR3 memory. What else? The I/O capability. So the previous generation product had 36 lanes of PCI Express Gen 2. These 2600 products have 40 lanes each processor, so 80 altogether, of PCI Express Gen 3, which is double the data rate of Gen 2. So it's unbelievable bandwidth throughput on these products. Just if you've got somebody who's needs to stream or is utilizing a InfiniBand or 10GbE, these are the products they're going to be attached to. So, here's some side-by-side comparisons. So 18 DIMMs on the previous generation product, now you can go up to 24. If you get customers that are looking for 3/4 of a terabyte of system memory, you can supply that to them now with these new products. Integrated I/O, as I mentioned, in 80 lanes of PCI Express Gen 3, so huge bandwidth increase. Here's the process for the lineup SKUs. So you see the top SKUs are all 8-core products, and then the mid-range SKUs are 6 cores. And then the low-end SKUs are 4 cores. And that's to help people hit, price points. So on the low end, you're roughly $200, and on the very high end, you're getting close to $2,000. But the performance is, significantly higher. Other things you get an 8 gig transfer bus in and out of the processor on the high end. You have 7.2 on the low end, and it is 6.4, which was the highest performance. That's on low end bus. On a current 5600, that's what the high end is. So just to give you an idea, our low end is equal to the high end as far as that goes. Here's the performance that you get. These are similarly price point products, and these are just basic translations across. 64% better, going from a 5660 to a 2660. You'll see actually the gigahertz goes down, but your overall performance goes up by 64% on average. So it's pretty amazing, the